Yo, what's up YouTube? It's your boy TPG back at it again with another Gundam video. It's like almost 11 o'clock at night at the time we're recording this, but early this morning a really cool deck ranking came out on the Japanese side of the game, and I sent it in my local Discord and we had some talk about it, and I really thought it'd make a great video. And so at the time recording this is July 27th at 11:42 p.m. So I'm really tired, had a long day, but I really wanted to get this out there and get my thoughts to you guys because the Japanese side of the game is looking a little bit different than ours, and I'm wondering how this can impact our side of the game. So I want to show you some of these decks they have as well as my thoughts on them. It does look like they're going to add their thoughts to this later, so I'll have the link in the description down below if you want to check it out. It does say like deck description being prepared, so that'll probably be added later on. So if you want to look at it, it'll be in the description. That being said, let's hop right in. Alright guys, so here we are in tier 1. So this is Gundam Card Game database. This does look like it is a Japanese site. It translates to English when I load it up. And of course it is all in Japanese, so this is going to be a Japanese sort of meta report. However, there's deck lists in here and there's a bunch of them. I'm going to just go over like quick thoughts on them, nothing too in-depth, especially because I'm going to play a lot of these, and I know a bunch of friends of mine are also going to play a lot of these, so I'll have more data on it as they've been played, and I can sort of give more in-depth thoughts on it. There's a couple that I want to sort of talk about a little more because they pique my interest a little more, and I think where they're placed on this tier list is really interesting. So let's just hop right in with tier 1. They have blue-white, and they sort of have all these different decks in here. So like if you see here, we have like 4 or 5 blue-white decks. So I'm just going to go through them all really quick. These are the alt arts. So this one here is like pretty standard to what we're playing. This is just like the best blue-white deck, right? So we have our freedoms. We have this one actually has Ariel as well as Soletta, so it's actually a little different than ours. And then I believe this is a Ale Strike. Yeah, I believe this is an alt art for Ale Strike. And then we have like Grandpa here. I think this is the starter deck one. And then Lifrith, Zwart, a lot of pilots. We have 4 Amuro, 4 Kira, 4 Soletta, but like, I mean, they're so good. And I can't tell if this is starter deck or booster set Ariel. And it doesn't let me, oh, it says right here GDO1. So this is booster set Ariel, which makes sense because you get to reuse your overflowing or your affections, your show of resolves, and your unforeseens. So I think that's really cool. Just having that draw engine is so powerful, and that's part of what makes blue white so powerful. So this sort of aerial build of blue white I think is really cool, and this is a deck I definitely want to try. That's a little different than the standard blue white blockers. This is another, okay, that's the same rebuild. Sorry, there's so many arts of these cards, it's really hard to tell. This is another rebuild deck. Looks like we're actually not playing Freedom. This is a more rebuild focused one. So we do have a lot of the same core, except we do have the base from STO2, the one that either makes a tall geese or 2 Leos, which is interesting. I think Striker Pack is a card that is incredibly underexplored and underutilized, especially with a card like Rebuild. I think Striker Pack it gives you more blockers that fit to whatever you need them to, which is interesting. I also want to note this deck doesn't have Zor, and I'm wondering if, the person must have had the cards because it comes in the starter deck with Grandpa. So interesting they don't have Zor, but I think seeing all these rebuild lists are really interesting, and I definitely want to give Rebuild a try. And again, I think Striker Pack's a really cool adaptation here. So this is the Unicorn deck. This looks fairly standard. This looks fairly similar to what we are playing for Unicorn, except they're on a lot of copies of Destroy mode, which is interesting. I think most lists are playing 2 to 3 Destroy mode here, and then 4 Unicorn mode, 4 Bonager. Everything else looks pretty standard. No Ale Strike. Instead, they opted for both Grandpas, which is interesting. But I don't think that's bad. I think that's like not bad at all, actually. I think if you were to put Ale Strike in this deck, which you can because you are playing Kira anyways, I think you could probably switch it out for Striker here. But then your only 2/2 is going, your 2-drop is going to be Zawar, which like is fine, I think. What is this? This is destroy mode as well. This is like the standard deck. Like this is pretty much what you're going to be seeing for like the standard unicorn stuff right now in NA. So nothing too crazy here. We got the Archangel, the white base, both draw spells, Bonager, Amuro, Kira, just like the best cards. Yeah, that's pretty standard. This is another one that looks a lot more teched out. We see like some one-ofs here. Like I think all these lists are only on like 1 freedom. This one has 2 freedom, no freedoms, no freedoms, no 3 freedoms. This one's the only one that's on like the standard 3 freedom. So far, this list is the one that looks the best to me and the most interesting. And I really like the adaptation of rebuild to reuse your broken cards. But yeah, this is like really teched out, right? Like we have I can't Mood of Flag, which is like a bounce spell, like a low cost bounce spell. Strike Rogue or Strike Rouge. We are playing, I believe this is one of the Strike Gundams. I don't remember which one this is. It's really hard being in Japanese because like a lot of the names I'm learning, but like it's very hard. Again, we do see Striker Pack here. That's cool. And an interesting base here. Kusanagi is in here. So yeah, this list is really teched out. This is the one that I like the least out of all of them. Like I feel like this is like just this person didn't have all the cards they need is like what I feel like when I look at this list. But the rest I think are all like relatively fleshed out. But like I said, this list is really, really cool. And I would love to see this adaptation be played more. And if people aren't going to play it, I think I'm going to play it. Like I think this is really cool. Enough talking about tier 1. This is like pretty standard. It's just cool seeing the adaptations they made. Let's talk about tier 2. Tier 2 is really weird because I think tier 2 is quite different for us in Japan. I think they have green white in here as well, but they put green red over green white. I don't know if it's ranked, but a lot of the green red lists are really cool, and I feel like our green red lists are super undercooked. So let's hop right into it. This one I think is super awesome. I'm definitely gonna be, I think, taking this to locals for my first event, or at least something similar. I do not like the 2 top ends, right? Like I do not like 6 big boys in this weenie rush deck. Like I think 3 Kshatriya and 3 Sananju is too much. I think you go 4/4 on one of them. If any, I'd probably do Kshatriya. But I think 2/2 is also fine on either of them. And then we have Charged Gelgoog, which I think is like really broken. The good stat line Kshatriya, which this one links with any Neo Zeon pilot, which importantly can link with Full Frontal, and of course Meridia Cruz, who in my deck profile I completely forgot was a Neo Zeon. And of course that was focused more on standard Zeon, but I think having Meridia is probably like the best Neo Zeon pilot, other than of course Full Frontal. 4 Charged Zaku from the start deck, 4 Charged Zaku from set 1. The vanilla Gelgoog. Rikdom was not in my list, but I do think Rikdom is really cool. And then of course 4 Zaku too. Also, I think something that's like a little sus of this list is they're only on 2 Zanzibar. I think your best turn 4 play is like Zanzibar. So I'm wondering if they just didn't have the 4th Zanzibar, or if I think the reasoning behind the 06 is they have quite a large top end. Like I said, I think 6 is too much, but because they are on 6, I think it makes sense that they would play the 06 to try and get to some sort of end game to utilize Sananju and Kshatriya. But if I were playing this deck, I would probably cut Sananju to 2, cut Kshatriya to 2, maybe probably leave Full Frontal, and then fit in 2 more cards, as well as swapping out Zanzibar. I think Battle of Aces is like a really neat tech, and I think Battle of Aces could definitely fit in this deck, and we'll talk about that in another list shortly. We have another Xeon list. This one is more focused on, this is a lot more similar to what I was playing before. We do have the 1/1. We do have the other Zaku too, the 2/2, which is cool. They do have 4 Zanzibar, which makes sense. The 4/4 Charged Zaku, I think, is like correct. 4 Gelgoog. They are on 4 Sananju, and their pilots are Angelo, 4 Char, and 4 Full Frontal. However, I think if you're going to run Full Frontal, like I do think you should be playing the vanilla Kshatriya, maybe over Gelgoog, if that's the case, because like they're similar statted. And then I actually think this card's bad now, like the Searcher. I've come around to that card being terrible dookie. So I probably wouldn't play that. This one's really cool. I like the one of Big Zam. Like if you're losing the game, Big Zam can like help you get back into it. And I think that's something that I would like probably test out. They are playing Dozel in their deck though, which like makes sense if they're gonna be playing Big Zam. But we do see like a more defined ratios, and part of me is like, is this week 1 ratios? Like, did I just not have all the cards, or like what? Like I truly don't know why we're playing 1 goof instead of like the 4th Rictum, right? And I think this is like a case of like just didn't have all the cards. And that might be why like Dozel and Big Zam are here, but like I don't hate Dozel and Big Zam. I don't really love Dozel, but like Big Zam I understand. And Imquave, we've talked about in like the million videos I've made on this deck. I think if you're going for a more standard green list, like a regular Xeon list, I think Imquave's pretty good. But I do think like green red, I've talked to some people too about like a green white list that utilizes like just all the green cards and then like overflowing, which like makes sense I think as well, just because you have that low end draw. But yeah, so this is another list. Green red, this one's really cool. This is like a Shenlong list, and like this card, Dual Gundam, I believe this is, I think is like super interesting. I've talked a lot of crap on it in my all decks video about Zaft, but like I think in this list it's really strong because it's basically just another Shenlong, but 2 turns earlier, or 1 turn earlier, because you still have to play the pilot on turn 4. But the pilot meets the criteria to give you breach, and then because you have breach you don't take damage. Like I think that's actually like really strong. I think this is a really cool list of just like green red good stuff, and I think this is something that could probably be like built upon. I think it's pretty standard right now, but yeah, this basically just more copies of Shenlong, which I think is just like, I think Shenlong's a good card. It's also a cheaper copy of Shenlong. It's 1 stat less, but like that's not really going to matter when you're breaking most bases anyways. It is playing I believe this is Battle of Aces. I can't tell, but I think it's an altar, but I think this is Battle of Aces, but it might not be. If it's not, please correct me. Like I said, the Japanese names, and I'm still familiarizing myself with all the arts, especially the alt arts. But I think this is a really cool list, and I really want to like experiment more with this. I like don't love this goof anymore either, but there could be like a reason. So this list is like freaked out, and I don't even know like what to think about this list. I think this list is like, I think this is like the white red, like the white green lists we're currently playing, but like without the white cards. And part of me loves it, and I'm like, yeah, we have the aggression of red, but we have like wing 0 and wing, which is like insane. But also like the synergy, I don't think there's like any synergy other than the 2 colors that got the 06 bases, which to be honest is pretty strong. So like that might just be the synergy. It's like the 06 bases and then all the good cards, but it feels really clunky to me. But I haven't played it, so this like might be sleeper fire. But I definitely see the vision. It's like, okay, how can I utilize like the strongest bases to get into wing 0? But then why am I only playing 2 wing 0? I feel like you should be playing 3. I also just don't know what this card is. This is Kshatriya, actually. This is Kshatriya, which we're playing Meridia, so I think that's fine. So yeah, I think this list is cool. This is one that I really want to test, because when I'm looking at this, I'm like, yeah, this is bad. Like this is somebody just like coping. But then I look at it harder and I'm like, you know what? Somebody cooked here, you know? Insert Breaking Bad. Somebody cooked here. So yeah. Green white, we have like the pretty standard list here. This is also in tier 2, rank A. Yeah, they're both rank A. This is literally just, I think, the standard list. Nothing looks too crazy. They are on 4 of the 06, so they're not on the 2 copies of the Academy, or not Academy. Yeah, the Academy, the card that scries. They're not on any of that, which is like fine. They're only on 2 Death Scythe, which is interesting. I think Death Scythe is one of the most expensive cards in the set right now for LRs. I think it's like $25 or $30, and then like Freedom is like a little over 30 at the time of recording this. So they might have just not had more, or like they thought they didn't need more, which, like, to be fair, they are playing more first contacts than normal, so that could be why. So yeah, I mean, like, this is pretty standard. Green white again. This time no LR Death Scythe, and we are playing Zaku 2. I think Zaku 2 is a really good card. I've praised this card so much. I think this should be in a lot more green decks, because just your turn 2, or your turn 1, it's an EX base breaker for 1, like that. That doesn't get much better than that. But you know, if it were to get better than that, it would, or about the same, it'd just be like Maganak, right? Basically the same card. But Zaku 2 is only on your turn, but it is 1 cost cheaper, which is nice. We do see Striker Pack here, which again, like I said, I think this card is like really underutilized right now. So yeah, this deck does look like it's a lot more spread out. Oh wait, there's a Death Scythe here. It's the alt art. Okay, I didn't see that. Okay, so we have one that like utilizes the Ale Strike package here. No Kiriyama though. We actually have Soletta, which does make sense to be like a resource focused deck. It does sort of make sense to have Soletta here. We also do have the Gundam Aerial Bidon form for that linking. But yeah, everything else looks pretty much the same. I think all these green, red, white decks are going to be relatively the same flavor. It's just like, what do you want your white package to be? And like typically it's like the Ale Strike package. This one has a Soletta for resources. This one has like barely any white. Like we have like Striker Pack and like Unforeseen and like Overflowing, but very little white. And then this one I'd say is like pretty standard. I do think they typically will play Ale Strike over the Searcher here. I think the Searcher is like okay, but I don't think you really need it that much. I think the interesting thing about this list is the 2 Death Scythe. I'm like, there might be something to take away from there. Okay, so moving on to tier 3. So this is white red. There's 4 lists for this, which is crazy because I can't even think of one, like other than the starter deck. So we have a Rebuild here as well as, or is this Rebuild or Justice? Or is this Freedom? I think this is a Justice list actually, because this is Rebuild. Yeah, so I think this is Freedom and this is Justice. This is like a triple ship alliance. I think the freaky thing is like we have, what, 2, 3 level 6s and 3 level 7s. And then like, but like then we have good cards, right? Like we have 4 Ale Strike, we have 4 Aegis, 2 Aegis, Lifrith, Zor. So I think this is cool. Again, utilizing Striker Pack, I think that's a big thing we should take away from this. Kira Yamato is only a 1-of, which is interesting. I think leaning more towards Soletta when you are playing more cards that Kira can proc is very, very interesting to say the least. Arthur and Zala, of course, 4 cost, and we are on 2 full frontal, which like genuinely I don't understand, other than being a +2/+2, which is good stats, but I really don't understand full frontal other than linking with Sinanju. But yeah, I think the +2/+2 because like you're not really playing any, none of these are like Xeons to play. But we do have close combat, which is cool. So yeah, I think this is a interesting deck. Next we're on to a like a Freedom Aerial. This is basically the blue. This is like blue white, but like if you didn't want to play the blue cards, so you threw in your favorite red cards, which are literally just Aegis, Arthur, and then the Vesselus. Oh, we do have Battle Aces though, which is nice. I think that could be a tech for sure. Notice how there's no Zaft. I don't know if this last list is Zaft. I can't remember, but I mean like I really hope that deck gets more support because I feel like it can be something, but it's just like not right now. This looks like just another Freedom list. We are on 4 Sinanju, 4 full frontal, still nothing to play off full frontal. So yeah, but I mean, I guess like I understand what Sinanju is doing for this deck. I just don't know how you're going into like Sinanju. I think like, look at the curve, right? We have like level 3, level 4, level 5. And then once we get to level 5, we get to play the game, which is like crazy to me. Okay, yeah, we don't really have a Zaft list, which like I think makes sense. Again, another red-white list. Yeah, Sinanju made its way into all of these is sort of like my takeaway. So that's really the only thing that I'm very confused about right now. Is like, I understand. This one at least has something you can play, right? Like we have like Angelo Soppers. Can't remember what this is. Gear Zulu, maybe? I can't remember the name of the unit, but I'm really tired and they're in Japanese, so it's like I really can't think of it. But I think the main thing is like we can think about this and be like, okay, this is tier 3, but why are they all playing Sinanju? And why are they playing full frontal? Is it just a good card? Does it? I haven't played this deck, so what I'm thinking is like when you play this deck, it's one of those decks that's like it's missing something, and Sinanju just checks all those boxes, and it's like, okay, well, if I'm playing Sinanju, I should be playing full frontal, which does have a lot of good stats to give during that pair. I think this one, I like this one the most because you are actually going to have something you can potentially play off of it, which is cool. So yeah. It can't play Sinanju, right? Hold on. Pretty sure it's a level 4 or lower, but now I'm like wondering, can you just play Sinanju off of full frontal? No, you can't. Okay. I was like very confused if you could play that. Okay. Blue red, they have this in tier 3, which is crazy to me. I think blue red is genuinely a really good deck. We do see here this is like it doesn't play the unicorn engine, which to me is like, okay, that's why it's tier 3. Like, I think these Japanese players just really love playing Sinanju. Again, you do have like things you can play off of it this time. Exactly. Gear Zulu. That's it. Okay. I think the unicorn version of this deck is a lot better. And let's see if this one's unicorn. Oh wow, shocker. It's not. So they're not playing the Banshee stuff, which is I think why this deck is tier 3. I think this deck is potentially tier 1 in the right pilot's hands, and if you just get lucky and high roll your opponents. But I think realistically this is a tier 2 deck if you're playing the proper list, which is in my opinion just like Meridia, the Banshee destroy mode stuff, or Banshee destroy mode stuff, and then the Kshatriya and Neo Zeon stuff, as well as a couple like blue things like Amuro and Grandpa. But yeah, interesting. Again, we do see Sinanju, but I'm not as mad about Sinanju at full frontal because like you have things to play. You have Kshatriya in this list. You have Gear Zulu in this list. Like I think it's like fine. But yeah, I think that's probably why these are in tier 3. This is a deck I personally like. If you want to try one of these, go ahead. Please let me know how it goes for you. But I think if you want a real list for this, you can check my previous video where I go over all my decks for set 1, and I think we have a really strong blue-red Banshee list in there, blue-red Neo Zeon list in there. Okay, tier 4, rank C, blue-green. Yeah, this, I mean, like the color combination isn't great. I think that's part of what held STO2 back, especially in the Star deck battles. Is like I think blue-green, I think the best synergy, right, is like Amuro to tap things down to like use wing to breach them. But we're like not even playing that in this deck. We have a Char deck with wing, which is fine. I think the wing cards are like such a strong top end. You probably can play whatever you want in the bottom end. But for me personally, that wouldn't be any blue bottom end. Here we have just like a OG Gundam fans first deck, right? I think that's sort of what this is. I don't have any thoughts on this deck other than like Amuro is good. You play like all the Char cards except you play one Gelgoog. This guy probably just didn't have the 3 more to Gelgoog. 2 Imquave for reasons. But yeah, this is just like an OG Gundam fans deck, which is fine. I'm totally down with this game having a casual player base, but I don't know if this deck is gonna win a tournament for sure. Blue green. Okay, okay, this is cool. This is cool. I really want to see more Tall Geese. I think Tall Geese is a card that scales really well into the late game. And this is literally just an upgraded version of the starter deck, which I think if you were going to play blue green is probably the best way to do it. Is just upgrade that starter deck. I don't think you need 3 or 4 wing zeros ever. I think you only need 3 at most. I don't think this is bad. I think if you were to if you got STO2 and you're a big fan of Gundam Wing, I think this is a very solid upgrade to that deck. Is this list. So out of all of these blue greens, I really like this one for sure. And that's everything. So I know this video is sort of rambly and lengthy, but I wanted to make sure I got these out here so that people could see them and sort of talk about them, because I think it's very important with this game being a simultaneous release that we have coverage of the Japanese side of the game as well as the English side of the game. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I've been really appreciating all the support lately. You know, it's been a long time for me since I had been making videos that I was really passionate about, and the Gundam card game is that for me. I'm just so passionate about it, and it seems like so many of you are as well. So you know, it really helps me out if you like, comment, and subscribe. Comment which deck you've seen in this video today that you want to try. My locals and I have been talking about quite a few of them, and we have our first constructed event this week. And so I know a couple of us are going to probably be bringing decks somewhat similar to this list. And I know for sure I'm looking at a couple of them that I want to try and just see how they shake up compared to the English meta of the game. So that being said, I'll see y'all later. Bye.